Hey guys, so I just wanted to make a video today because first of all I dyed my hair blue and it's really cool, I like it. And I recently watched a video, well actually yesterday I watched a video of one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Antistesia, and well, her former name was APN9A. I've been following her for years now, and I watched a video that she made just a couple of days ago titled On Languages and Cultures or something of that nature. And I really liked it. So I wanted to make a similar video today just because that's something that I'm, extremely interested in. And so I wanted to share some of my thoughts with you guys on languages and cultures. So if you don't know, I live in the United States. I live in the state of Maryland, and my first language is English. And for the last couple of years, I've really been working hard at studying French. I'm not fluent in French, but I would say that I'm probably at a nice conversational level. So I've worked really hard at that, and other than that, I've dabbled in like dozens of languages. I have an interest in pretty much everything, every language, every culture that you can think of. I have some type of interest there. Aside from French, though, I've studied quite a bit of Spanish. I can say quite a bit in Spanish, but not as well as French. And then for a few months I've been studying Russian. I can do the Russian alphabet. I know pretty common words. I can construct a couple of sentences, but not much. And then Mandarin. I've studied Mandarin. I haven't studied it in a while, but I did study it for a couple of months as well. And I learned all the tones. I learned how to write some things. I know how to say a few things, but I don't know much there either. And then a few years ago, I was studying Italian for quite a bit of time. I don't remember much other than like arrivederci and voglio una birra per favore. But other than that, I don't know much Italian. But really, why I wanted to make this video is not to show off. It's not to say, hey, I can speak all these languages or whatever, because I can't. I wanted to make the video because I wanted to share the importance with you guys, or what I think is important, how I think it's important, whatever. I wanted to share with you guys the fact that I think that it's really important to kind of learn as much as you can about a culture and about languages, because I think that the world is just really amazing. There's so much to see. The world has so much to offer. And we've got this really short life. We've got this really short amount of time, and it really baffles me when people say things like, I never want to leave the United States. I never want to travel. I don't care about speaking any other languages. I speak the universal language, yada yada. I don't need to do any of that. But when you learn another language, you really are closing the gap between yourself and other cultures. For example, if you have a new neighbor who just moved in and they don't speak English well, but you speak their language, you made a friend. Automatically, if you can speak to that person in their language, you're pretty much speaking to their heart, you know what I mean? And I love being able to speak to someone in their own language, because if they're coming here to the United States and they're speaking English all the time, I'm sure it kind of sucks that they can't ever speak their mother tongue, you know what I mean? I just think it's just really amazing when you're able to speak to them in what they're most familiar with. And not to mention, people also make the excuse all the time, well, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. Well, you don't need a lot of time, and you don't need any money at all, actually. Really all you really need to learn is about 20 to 30 minutes a day, and if you can, give an hour or even 2 hours, and the more time that you give to studying that language every day, the quicker you're going to learn. Even now, if I have a time for a 2-hour study session, I will learn so much just in that little bit of time. And it really impresses me. Like, you know, I'll take a shower at night and I'll have a conversation with myself in French from what I learned earlier in that day, and that helps tremendously. Like I said, it's free. In today's world, you don't need to buy anything. I mean, if you want to buy a book or something, go to a used bookstore, go to Goodwill, whatever. You don't have to buy some expensive stuff to learn a language. I've literally spent, and I've been studying French for 2 years on my own, no classes, nothing, and I've probably spent like a total of $20 in the last 2 years on just books. But I don't even use the books that much, to be honest with you. I use Duolingo, I watch YouTube videos all the time, I listen to music on YouTube, you know, I watch documentaries and French films on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and stuff like that. And I've literally spent like no money. And if you just allot the time that you use to watch TV every night and stuff like that to studying the language, you know, there's your time right there. I mean, instead of watching TV and melting your brain, you're actually learning something. So it sounds like a win-win to me. To me, it's always been quite clear that I wanted to travel. When I was a little girl, I always had an interest in, guess where? Great Britain, UK, whatever. I always really, really wanted to go to the UK. I always really, especially England, I always really, really liked England. I was obsessed with it. I liked the British flag, I liked the accent, you know, the big red buses, like everything, the telephone booths, like everything was just like, I've got to go to London one day. London is just, it's crazy, amazing. And I mean, now it's really cool. I still want to go there, but now that I've like really did my research and looked into all these different places, I mean, the world just has so much. And I feel the need to go everywhere. I used to not care too much about Asia and Africa, but now, like, I really want to go to Egypt, and I want to go to Morocco, and I want to go to Cape Town, and I want to go to India and China and Thailand and Japan. There's so many places. South Korea. I mean, I actually have a cousin right now who lives in South Korea and another cousin who lives in Japan. So I have to go there soon while they're there. And there's a possibility that my husband may be getting orders overseas at some point, possibly Japan, possibly Spain. We don't know, you know. Right now I have a really big obsession with India. I love Hindi culture. I love their religion. I love the language. I like the writing. The script is just so beautiful. I like the way it sounds. Indian food is like my favorite. I mean, who doesn't love a good tikka masala, right? It's amazing. Hungary, Budapest, man, I'd love to go to Budapest. Morocco. I mean, there's so many places that are totally underrated. Turkey, my husband went to Turkey, and you know, you don't hear about many people wanting to go to Turkey, and it wasn't a big town or anything. It wasn't like Istanbul. It was actually a pretty small town on the coast, and he said he loved it. He's like, there's just, you know, people just open up their garage doors and there's just bazaars everywhere all around you, beautiful cobblestone streets, everything like that, you know, handmade gifts, food just everywhere. He's like, it's amazing. I'd love to go back there. Crazy to me that people don't care about this stuff. Like, I don't understand. I mean, it's just the beauty of the world, you know? Just, there's just so much, you know, so much greenery, so much water. I mean, I'm looking outside right now, and of course, you know, it's winter and I don't have anything very beautiful to show you, but, you know, I imagine every day myself, like, hiking in, like, Scotland or Ireland, like, along the cliffside. You know, you can see the water down below, there's castles, and, you know, I mean, I love America, I love being American, but the history doesn't feel as rich to me as it does in places like that. I mean, I want to see castles and dungeons and, like, you know, crazy stuff. When you speak another language, it almost, like, transforms you as a person. You will, when you just immerse yourself in the language, you're also immersing yourself in the culture of the language, which means that you're going to have, like, a new taste in music and clothing, food. You're going to want to try new things. You're going to start watching films a lot, you know. And at first when I started watching French films, I was like, man, these are so boring and so sad, and they always have terrible endings, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, these are great. Like, they make me feel something, and I've just learned to really love the culture of them. Pretty much everything about French culture I love. I've always liked France, you know. I've always been interested in French culture, but now that I'm into the language, I really feel for it, you know. I'm really connected to it. And it's the same thing with Russian. Like, out of the blue one day, you know, I never had like a really big interest in Russia. I always thought, you know, Moscow was really beautiful, you know, but I never had like a big interest in it. But after I started, you know, learning Russian, I was like, man, there's so many things that I just love about Russia. And it's not the vodka. Even if you start learning a language, I would say the best thing for me is listening to music all the time. I still sing songs all the time. Sometimes I don't even know what they're saying, but I've totally got it memorized. Like, I can sing every word, even if I don't know every word, which is pretty cool. When I have a friend or something in the car and I've turned on this song and I'm like singing it and they're like, wow, you can sing this? And I'm like, yeah. You know, and sometimes I don't, like I said, I don't even know what it says sometimes, but it just feels really cool. I mean, you've accomplished something that you never would have thought that you could do before. I took Spanish for 4 years, 2 years in high school and 2 years in college, and I could still not speak a word. And I think that our system here in the United States for learning another language in school is just totally flawed. We just don't do it right. I mean, they just kind of give you all the grammar facts up front, and I just think that's really silly. It's a silly way to learn. First, we need to learn how it sounds. We really need to be familiar with the way it sounds. And then we need to learn all the basics. 1, 2, 3, ABC, you know, mom, dad, cat, dog, yada yada. And then once you start learning those, then you can start learning verbs, and then you can learn how to construct the noun and the verb. The noun, the verb, the adjective, the noun, the verb, the adjective, the adverb, preposition, all that good stuff. I mean, you have to start small, because if you start with grammar and grammar rules, you're just gonna get you're gonna get so confused and so irritated, and you're just gonna give up. Just start small. Just get interested, really dig into all the fun stuff, because learning a language is really, really fun, especially when you see that you actually are learning something. That's the best part. It's really rewarding, because then you can start to read books in the language that it was originally written in. You don't read a copy of it in English. And that's really amazing, because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as good in the language that it was copied in, but it's going to be better in the language that it was written in, because those are the true words of what the person said. And there's not always a word that can be translated. For example, my name is Fernway Gypsy. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. Fernway, I don't know, Fernway something. But that actually means to be homesick for a place that you don't even know. And so that's part of my channel, is that you know, I actually do get homesick all the time for places that I've never been to before. And I feel like that's part of me. It's always been really deep down inside of me that I've just always been super passionate, and I've always really loved cultures and languages. It's always felt like a part of me, a part of my life, just deep down inside. And so when I start seeing these changes in me from learning another language, it makes me feel so good and so, I don't know, I'm just so passionate about it. I don't even have the words. But I hope that what you guys take from this today is that it's not impossible to learn a language. It's not impossible to travel. Just become interested. It's not even just traveling. It's, you know, there's so many underrated things. There's so many things that we don't know, we haven't discovered about the world, and the only way that we're going to do it is by learning the languages, eating the food, listening to the music, watching the films, and getting out there and discovering it for ourselves. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll make one soon, and hopefully my hair will still be blue by the time I make the next one.